high ticket sales, at least $1,000. In my other business, we're doing deals for a client, about $10,000 a deal. Inbound, I've sold deals as much as I think 30 or 40,000 in my past career as a salesman, which I'm very happy I'm not in that career anymore. So this is aimed, it's kind of advanced selling. It's aimed, maybe you're in sales, but mostly if you're in your own business and you want some really crucial tips on closing big deals. Okay, there's a lot of high ticket sales guys out there. Kevin Nations is good. Dan Locke used to be, now he's sort of like a mainstream YouTube brand. But I'll tell you this, if you haven't sold, you know, it's difficult. I haven't seen any of these tips and tactics anywhere else. So I want to be able to give these to you from close to a decade of my past career in sales and what I'm doing now, as well as, I think these would be really useful. So number one, okay, when it comes to advanced selling and high ticket sales is stop holding high status buyers sacred. Okay, your potential clients' status or money or net worth doesn't matter. Okay, money and status, they're just mass agreements that this piece of paper, these digits in a computer, this position in a company are things. Okay, and they're concepts that exist between our ears. The reality is you're talking to a human to human, breathing the same air as you, drinking the same water you do. Chances are, if he's a higher status person, he's going to be older than you. He might have some health problems. His back might be hurting. Okay. This is he goes to the bathroom every day. This is just another person. Their status doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you have to be intimidated. And it doesn't mean you have to allow them to intimidate you, which a lot of high status guys are used to being in charge. They're used to employees doing what they say. They're used to managers doing what they say. They might even be in sales themselves. Sometimes those are the worst guys to deal with because they're like, all right, buddy, I know what you're doing. I'm in sales. I know the tactic you're running here, right? But you have to be able to hold your position, hold your frame, not apologize, keep control over the conversation. You're still being agreeable, okay? But you're holding court. You're taking control of the conversation because knowing that, it doesn't matter how much money he's worth. It matters if he's paying you, okay? A guy making $25,000 a year who buys from you is worth more than a billionaire who doesn't. All right, for my coaching that I'm doing, my peak performance coaching, it's $1,000 a month. I've got guys making 5 figures who are paying that. Okay, to them that's a lot of money in terms of the amount of money that they make, but they see the value in the coaching. It doesn't matter if a guy's a millionaire or whatever. Okay, this is why I tell you guys to forget about networking. There's so many guys going around networking. Oh, okay, that guy has some connections, that guy has status or whatever. Almost none of those things are going to happen anyways. What matters is who's going to buy from you. So instead of networking, you're selling. Okay, so the status is important. You're on a phone call for 30 minutes with a high status guy. That doesn't matter. It matters if he's going to buy from you. Okay, at the end of the day, if he doesn't buy from you, you go your separate ways. So there's no reason to be intimidated. Okay, what you're doing is you're selling, and it's the same process for everyone. Now, not to say that you don't make adaptations based on the person's tonality and all these things, but what I'm saying is you don't allow that to affect you and throw you off your game because who cares? Who cares if he's more successful and older than you? It doesn't matter. What matters is you have a good solution to one of his problems and you have a script and you have your rebuttals and you have your objections and you follow through whether the guy is very successful or he's less successful. You run the same process through. Okay. Number 2, buying questions versus objections versus complaints versus aggressive interruptions. Okay. A buying question is a request for more information. These are great. This is what you want to hear. It'd be like, tell me a little bit more about the features of product X. Perfect. Okay. I go into selling. I go into, he's leaning towards buying already. I love hearing buying questions. Okay, what you don't want to do is make the mistake of thinking a buying question is an objection. This is a lot of what rookie salesmen will do. They'll think that they'll have to use one of their objections to solve a buying question. Like, oh, this guy's worried about this and that. No, he's not. He just wants clarity. He wants more information. When the buying question is asked and it's in a good rapport and, he's telling you about features, he just wants clarification. And then he'll say, okay, can you, what does the contract look like for this thing? Okay, don't worry, it's an NDA. You get this. Sometimes just showing him the contract and reading it through, okay, and giving him, assurances and clarifying things for him. All right. An objection as opposed to a buying question is a reason not to buy, and that's where you go through your objection management. Okay. You also should be wanting to hear these. You should be looking forward to objections. Okay. As counterintuitive as that sounds, you're like, I wish an MFer would drop an objection on me because I've got these so tight, and maybe it's one that I haven't heard, and that gives me a chance to like come up with stuff on the fly, which is where my best objection management almost always comes from, on the fly, because it's become unconscious competence. You should get excited, like, let me just get the pitch out of the way so I can get to the objections, right? So I can go in on this thing, so I can get into the battle, okay? Because an objection is a reason not to buy, but if he's making an objection, it means he's interested, and it means that you've moved further down the script, further down from point A to point B, because there's very few deals that are going to close without objections. So you want to be moving towards objections, okay? And you don't want to be wasting all your good ammunition off the start. You start him with, an objection, but it's not your best one. It's, keeping your powder dry, waiting till he comes back to that 2, 3, 4 times before you hit him with a bigger one and you hit him with a close. Okay, and don't rush through the objections towards the close. Let him go. Let him respond. Let there be a pregnant pause there. Let discussion proceed without you asking for the sale again, or without you overselling and pushing forward. Pace yourself on that and be comfortable within that. Be comfortable within that eye of the storm. Okay, because that's what you really get paid for, is changing someone's perspective about why they shouldn't buy into why they should buy. Okay. Number 3 is a complaint. Okay, it's a complaint with a product, service, or price. Mostly the price. Okay, you're getting to the price. The guy's like, oh man, $10,000 is a lot of money. He's like, shit, that's the price, $10,000. Okay, so that doesn't mean that he doesn't want to buy though. Okay, you don't want to take that and start running objection management on that. A lot of the time he's just venting and you're the only person there. He's just saying like, that's gonna hurt. And you're like, I hear what you're saying, man. So you ready to move forward? Right? You can still go to the close. Like if you're at the end of your pitch and he's just saying it's a lot of money, you can still go to the close. Okay, I've closed guys like that, and it'll be like this. You're like, fine, all right, I'm in, right? And you're like, you sure, man? I want to make sure you're ready to do this. I don't want you to do anything you don't want to do. So like, sometimes you have to massage that a little bit because you don't want the guy to charge back, or you don't want him to be unhappy with the product. But usually, once he said yes, he's decided. He might ask you another 10 questions, 10 buying questions that you have to answer. Take a pause and then be ready to buy. But you don't want to assume that a complaint is not an objection. By the way, of the things on this list, pretty much everything is something that occurred to me that came from Grant Cardone, complaint versus objection. So I got to give credit to where credit's due. But this is a reality. Okay, so don't treat a complaint as an objection. It's context dependent. Okay, this is advanced selling. I've got a book, How to Sell, if you're interested, but yeah, I don't think it's covered even this depth. It's going to be included in my How to Play the Game of Life course, which will come out sometime this year, hopefully. It's going to be like 100 hours, man. So it's going to be a while, but stay tuned for that. Okay.